We are recording a little bit of bonus content. If you notice, I'm outside and Greenblatt is the only other one here. Basically, because I got to the point to editing this episode and just so much has happened over the last few days, it would be remiss if we didn't include this. So some really, really big DC Comics news broke over the last 2 days. Right now it's Thursday. We recorded the original episode on Tuesday. And I actually think we have a really good episode, but we can always add a little bit more content, especially when it's something this big. Now, obviously, two very big things have been announced from DC Comics over the last 2 days. First of all, we already talked about how Ruby Rose left Batwoman, and I want to go a little bit deeper into how I think this is going to affect the series a little bit more down the line. And then, of course, probably the biggest comic book news we've gotten in a while is the fact that the Zack Snyder cut of the 2017 Justice League movie is going to be released on HBOMax next year. And oh my God, we are very excited about this. Now, if you aren't familiar with what the hell the Snyder Cut means or what I'm talking about at all, essentially the Justice League movie that came out 2 years ago starring Henry Cavill as Superman, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, Ben Affleck is Bruce Wayne, Ezra Miller is the Flash, and so on. The movie itself was in what's called production hell for a very long time. There were rewrites of the script, reshoots of scenes. They had to do some crazy CGI stuff, then redo CGI stuff. Essentially had a whole movie out and realized, no, we hate this, and had to basically reshoot half of it. It wasn't an easy production to get done. And in the middle of that, the original director, Zack Snyder, his daughter committed suicide, very tragically, while this was in production, and Zack Snyder, because of that, had to drop out. Now, Joss Whedon directed the Avengers, and he directed Ultron too, if I'm not mistaken.
He's also responsible for creating some of the most iconic shows ever.
Yes.
Firefly, yes. Buffy, Angel. And you want to talk Firefly? I'll talk Firefly all day.
Different episode. Essentially, Joss Whedon is known as an action adventure sci-fi genius. Obviously gave us the first Avengers, gave us the second Avengers. And so he stepped in. He was already involved in the rewrites and the reshoots and helping out with the process. But when Zack Snyder's daughter died, he stepped in full-time as the director. And it was met with mixed reception, to say the least. I know at my first viewing of the movie, I thought, okay, that was fine. It wasn't great. Matt hated it.
We were the only two in the group that actually kind of enjoyed some of it.
Yeah, Matt hated it. Everybody else that was with us.
I still have my Justice League poster from the movie hanging up.
I 100% believe that. And then you watch it 2 or 3 more times, and it starts to get like, this
everything
was
falls
as bad
apart.
as we thought. And of course, me and Greenblatt are the bigger DC comic fans. Greenblatt, I know, is an equal DC Marvel guy, if not even more Marvel. I know I'm the biggest DC comic fan of the group in terms of DC Marvel. So I was kind of in my moment. I'm like, yeah, Flash, yeah, Superman, yeah, Wonder Woman. And then I get out of it, and I'm like, wow, that sucked. And essentially, there was an online campaign getting people to donate to suicide prevention in honor of Zack Snyder's daughter. And it was called Release the Snyder Cut. Because originally, Zack Snyder, like I said, directed this movie and had his own cut of the film. The film just happened to be 4 hours long, and they were in the process of cutting the whole thing way down, which is why they were doing the reshoots in the first place that happened to be directed by Joss Whedon, to take the 4-hour movie and cut it down and simplify it. But because the movie itself was hit with such mixed reception, fans wanted to see the original Zack Snyder cut of the movie. It was supposed to be darker, it was supposed to be grittier, and feel more like a Batman versus Superman versus an Avengers type movie, which we got. So I personally am very, very, very excited to see this, but there are a couple definite thoughts I have. First of all, the runtime is 4 hours long, and I did talk to Matt. Matt's not on this episode, but I did talk to him 15 minutes ago, and the one thing he did say was, yeah, it's going to be too long. Like,
Well, the thing of what they're going to be doing with it, like what's rumored is that he's going to release it as a 6-part like special, like for TV, like it's a TV thing.
and that was my thought. It has to be in more than one piece.
It has to. I mean, because you can't really do 4-hour long.
You can't
things.
have somebody sit down and watch 4 straight hours of.
I mean, Endgame as incredible of a movie it is. It is long.
I continually fast forward to the last hour.
Oh, I do. I do some of the time travel part, like the time heist parts, because that's like, I mean, that's really, I like some of those, but like.
I fast forward to once they get back and Romanoff and Black Widow's dead. And once they do that, then they do the snappy thing. Everyone comes back and the final battle starts. And from that point forward, Endgame's probably one of the best movies ever in terms of the last hour. But yes, it takes a while to get off the ground. And that's
also the highest grossing movie of all time.
Yes, highest grossing movie of all time.
Not counting inflation, because that's still Gone with the Wind, I believe.
I'm very excited to see this movie. First of all, I want to see the darker aspects that everybody's been talking about, and Zack Snyder's really known for. If you look at some of Zack Snyder's previous endeavors, the two big ones that stand out are 300 and Watchmen. And both of those have a very dark, very gritty feel, some very dark luminary tones. It's a very dark movie. What are you, Greenblatt, kind of expecting to see from this film in terms of differences between this movie and the Joss Whedon movie?
Well, we're getting a lot of things, from what Zack Snyder and all the cast have said, like, nobody has been, like, one of the bigger outcries of this than, like, the entire cast. Like, Jason Momoa, Gal Gadot, Ezra Miller, I think, has commented on it a few times. Even Ben Affleck himself has commented on it.
Is Ezra Miller allowed to speak publicly yet? Or is he
I don't know.
Canceled?
I'm sure he has. I think some of it has obviously blown over. Yeah, so there's a lot that's changed. Like, there's also an entire missing character that got cut from it. We have the Martian Manhunter in the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Like, you remember the general dude from Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman?
Yeah.
He's the Martian Manhunter.
Wow. See, that's just why I think we needed an extended cut of this. Those are the things that fans would have wanted that got cut from this movie. And that's kind of leading into what I expect. I expect to see more Easter eggs for the fans.
Oh, yeah.
Joe Manganiello talked about how the original post-credit scene for the Zack Snyder movie was supposed to be Batman and Deathstroke fighting each other, which would have been amazing.
Incredible.
It would have been incredible. So one of the things that I really expect to see from this in comparison to the original movie is a lot more comic book Easter eggs and a lot more comic book references and people like the Martian Manhunter and Deathstroke getting their own scenes. Maybe even Lex Luthor getting a bigger cameo. So I'm very excited to see this.
I'm sure there's supposed to be a lot more. I'm also pretty sure there's supposed to be a lot more dark side stuff that was supposed to be in it.
That too. They cut a lot of dark side out and just gave us Steppenwolf, which was ridiculously dumb.
It was awful. He was an awful villain. I mean, like, we have almost 3 hours more footage that we're going to be getting. Like, and they're going to be continuing to work on it. Like, while this is going on, they're like, Zack Snyder's never really stopped working on it. He's like continuously like put like more effort into it.
That is amazing.
And like
I'm so excited to see this, man.
I'm so excited. I mean, I'm setting my expectations low, so I won't be fully disappointed. But I can't help but have high expectations because, like, I mean, I read a stat the other day. This is the most tweeted about like DC property ever that hasn't been released.
Yeah. Well, release the Snyder Cut was a huge hashtag for a very long time.
I mean, it happens like, I mean, I had a feeling it was going to eventually happen. Like it was going to be a big thing for HBO to like hook people onto HBOMax.
Yeah.
Like if they're not getting, if they weren't going to get the sign up numbers that they were going to get, this was their trump card.
Oh, like this is single-handedly getting me a sign up. And the Green Lantern show.
Yeah, I mean, I already signed up for HBO Max like a week ago, because they had an offer. Like if you pre-order to sign up, you get like $3 off a month for the entire year.
Okay.
So instead of paying $15 a month, you're only paying $12 a month for the entire year.
Okay.
Which
So
is
the
not
other
bad.
thing I did want to talk about is obviously Batwoman.